What are we doing?
I don't know. What are we doing?
Oompa, loompa, oompa dee. You got it backwards.
Wait, who are we?
Oompa, loompa.
You can't even.
In this episode, Phil gives really bad life advice.
Vegetables are the devil's food.
Just do that noise. It's like
that was like a really jacked up chicken.
Haven't you ever seen Robot Chicken?
Oh yeah.
just do that song. Uh-oh. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, people.
I think what's so funny about it is you are terrible at doing impressions, but you have the best sound. Like, have you ever seen Police Academy?
Partially.
There's
the one dude that
who
can do,
makes
like,
the
the
sound
really good-
effects. That's you.
Yeah, I can't do impression worth jack.
But you
Well,
can
maybe
do,
Chris Farley. I
Did
can
you
maybe
Chris
do a
Farley?
Chris Farley.
Yeah, like Matt Foley.
Yeah. But that's not very hard. You just gotta like sound like really intense.
I
you
feel
just
like.
kind of gotta clench your gut.
Do we all sound okay?
Yep.
Okay. I think it's just these headphones.
I am trash.
There we go.
See, you sound really good.
Quick funny
Why do
story
I not
before we
sound-
start.
Yeah.
So
Give that story, bro.
Evan's doing
Ooh,
like
yes, there we
Evan's
go.
doing student teaching at a middle school.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she said she was like in a class once and some random kid just like walked in because he like forgot something. And he walks in, grabs his thing, and starts walking out. And the teacher's like, "Where do you belong?" And the kid looks at her straight face. Like it's a weird way of asking like, "Where should you be right now?"
Yeah.
But she says, "Where do you belong?" And like this middle schooler, like straight face, looks at her and just says, "In the trash," and walks out.
Dang.
Where do you belong? In the trash.
That's heavy.
In the trash.
That's heavy.
Evan said the whole class like burst out laughing, and the teacher was like, "Don't laugh at him. You're just enabling him."
encourage
and Evan
him.
said she was like,
That's fantastic.
I mean, I would laugh too. That
I
kid
know. I
is probably
would've burst out
he's trying to get a laugh.
"Exactly."
All right, I'm just trying
You're
to
good.
double check.
You're
Okay. All right, are we starting?
yeah.
Making a list.
It's up to the host.
Checking it twice. Gonna find out who's. Don't say
Bad.
it to me. Wait, are we starting? My beard touches the pop filter.
I
when
can't.
get too close.
I can't
Dang
tell
it,
you what
this
to do.
chair
You're in
is
charge.
really like.
I told you. That's why I
I
gave you
am.
Starting.
Yes.
What's up, people? This is the
Not
pop
much.
culture punk. What?
No, just keep going.
We said no interruptions.
Yeah, immediately. All right, what's up, people? This is a Pop Culture Punks podcast. I am your podcast overlord, otherwise known as host, Phil Sorensen. To my left, we have Josh. To his left,
the bee's knees.
we have
You were waiting way too long for that one.
we have Zach, who interrupted me.
Sorry. That's my intro.
So yeah, like I said, we are the Pop Culture Punks podcast. I figured we would start off today
Doing.
doing a warm-up conversation
Okay.
by
does
talking
that
about
look
games
like?
we've been playing. Generally,
Okay.
Who's first?
Zach.
Okay.
Ooh.
Mario Odyssey, obviously, because that just came out yesterday. Depending on when you're listening to this, this is
So
what
it's the
day is it?
27th. So today's the 28th.
Today's the
Yesterday's
28th. I've already plugged in 4 hours into it. It is
Attaboy.
incredible. I love it. It might be my favorite Mario game, which is saying a lot because Super Mario Galaxy is like really, really, really high on the list. So that is what I've been playing. That and a little bit of Fire Emblem Shadows of Valentia. Those have been my 2 games as of recently. So
All right.
Which one is Shadows of Valentia? Is that the?
it's a 3DS
ROM?
one. The
that
one
new
they
one that just
remade.
came
Yeah,
out.
the one
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
remade.
I literally haven't touched that.
I don't know which game they remade. I think it was.
It was for the Super Nintendo, wasn't it?
No,
Like a Japanese.
I think it was
release or
the NES
something?
actually.
Was it?
Yeah, it's that old. It was like the second. It was the game like after. It was either 2 games or like 3 games after Marth's, because Marth was like the original Fire Emblem.
Dang.
Oh, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Eyes of Heaven. or as they say, Eyes of Heaven.
Is that a game?
Yeah, it's a legit game. It's like a arena fighter. You know, like J-Stars, like that one fighting game where it's like the Shonen Jump characters, and they're all fighting each other. You know what I'm talking about, Jay?
You chump. I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
I got you.
You got me.
I don't play fighting
Come on,
games.
host. Jeez.
I don't play fighting games.
Jeez,
I don't either.
No,
I've
I
fallen
don't
out of
either.
love.
I only play games that like every character is like fun to play as, which is
Makes sense.
JoJo's fun because there's so many like characters I love on that show that it's like, oh, I can be this person, I can be this person. And then same with Shonen Jump All Stars too. It's like, oh, I can be Gon. Oh my gosh, I could have Ichigo and Gon on the same team. Oh, I can have Goku and Gon and Vegeta, and it's like Gon is always on.
Yeah, you're listening to the same name.
It's like you're saying one person. It's like
Because Gon is
you can
the
have-
only one who matters.
you can have Gon, you can have Gon and his brother Gon.
That's funny.
So,
Cool.
So
yeah.
those are the games. Any other music, movies, TV shows
music.
you've been watching?
Ooh, that's
Media,
a good question.
pop culture?
Yeah. So I usually I try not to watch too many new anime because I literally start it and then I just never finish it. That's what happened with Death Note. I still haven't finished it.
Shame.
It's blasphemy, I know. I found one called Tiger and Bunny, which is very interesting. It was because the way I found out about it was there's a YouTuber called the Anime Man who I recommend. He's really good with like talking about anime stuff, and he was going through this list of like the like top 100 like most influential anime. It was like a Japan poll, so like they like basically voted like the most important or like I don't know if it's like best per se, but maybe. And like Tiger and Bunny was like number one, which is like at the moment I don't really see it, but at the same time it like is a really enjoyable show. So
Is it literally about a tiger and a bunny?
No.
No.
But they're named Tiger and
Or
Bunny.
is it metaphorical? They're a metaphorical tiger and bunny.
Maybe one's like the more quieter one, the other one's kind of like the more wild, like goes on his instinct.
Tiger and bunny.
So
Like,
that's
the
sort of
lion,
where it
like
comes
the
from.
lion and the lamb, the tiger and the bunny.
That's don't put Bible references in my I don't want religion in my anime.
There probably is.
There is. There's always, yeah.
Japanese.
No, it's like, how can I sum up the premise? It's really interesting. So it's like, it's a superhero anime, which is like a dime a dozen, but it's an interesting stance because it's basically, it's like there's superheroes and there's like a whole group of them, but like they basically do superhero work because they like earn points and stuff for popularity. So it's basically like a competition who's like, they do like amazing feats and they like, save banks or like, like save people from exploding buildings. But like the interesting part is that it's all for this like television program and this like competition of like who earns the most points and like you represent your company that you're affiliated with and stuff. So this guy, the main character who's Tiger or Wild Tiger, is basically like washed up hero. He's like the least popular of them all, but then he gets sold to this one company who gets paired up with this new up and coming hero. And they're like, all right, we want you guys to like be a duo. That'll just like help us promote our stuff more. And he's like, I'm not working with this fool. And all the stuff that goes, I'm not working with a bunny. Yeah.
I ain't working with no bunny.
I ain't working with a bunny rabbit.
So
Speaking of bunnies,
Yeah.
I want to segue. Do you remember Dumb Bunnies? The TV show?
why does that sound so familiar? Yeah.
It was like a
sounds
children's
familiar.
book, and then they made it into a short run cartoon. And the reason I bring this up is because I was playing Mario Odyssey, and those the villains who are like
Oh, the
all bunnies.
Brutals.
Yeah. And I saw them, and first off, they're horrific. Those dudes are
I
horrifying.
love their,
I showed
I
them
love
to
their
Evan.
design.
I like their design,
Yeah.
especially because they're the main enemies. But
Yeah.
holy crap, I was like, dang,
That
they're
scared
kinda
you?
creepy. Not like scared me, of course. I mean, like,
Yeah.
They're just creepy.
but it was just like, wow,
It was like unsettling.
Yeah, I
it's
saw
like
him and I showed him to Evan, and she was like, "They're ruining bunnies. They're making bunnies seem evil." And she was like mad because
what a
it
girl.
makes bunnies seem evil.
This isn't fair, bunny.
And then I was like, hashtag not all bunnies.
Oh my. That was good.
that's great. That's
Great.
fantastic.
Like put a picture of them. It's like these bunnies are being misrepresented. Hashtag not all bunnies.
We're just like, we should just find famous bunnies like Buster Baxter.
No,
like
do you know what we
the
could
dumb
do?
bunnies and,
You know
like-
the dumb No, you know how there's like the one in the green suit? We could do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
We could do the meme where like we have a picture of Buster Baxter. It's like, here's Buster Baxter. Here's him now. Like, do you feel old yet?
Where is he now? That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. But anyway, yeah. So I was like, wow, these. So the dumb bunnies. I need to find a clip for you guys because all I remember from the dumb bunnies was there was a comic that I think they recreated in the TV show where they would like say things and then take it literally. So one of the things was like, "Hey,
I
mom
do-
and dad,
okay, I
can we
remember
watch
reading-
TV in our pajamas?" They're like, "Okay." And literally they come downstairs and the kid has the TV jammed into his pajama pants and he's like watching it. And it's like, what is this?
That is dumb bunnies.
So,
I do remember that.
So
yeah.
for some reason I just thought, I was like, oh, this is where the dumb bunnies ended up.
Yeah.
Working for Bowser
my
and
gosh.
stealing women.
That's exactly where it came from. Hashtag not all bunnies.
Oh, Lord.
Oh gosh.
Anyway.
That was good. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Tiger
Nice.
and Bunny, and I've been rewatching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure just because I'm on a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure kick. It's a good stuff. I
Nice.
highly recommend it. It is weird and strange, and you will probably like.
Would you say it's bizarre?
It's bizarre. It literally does describe
Shameful. How dare you?
bizarre. We just end it there. Like, thanks for listening to our podcast.
Check us out on YouTube, iTunes.
Doom, 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 doom. It's a Goosebumps thing. What's that one? That was gross. Sorry.
It's the Mountain Dew.
I saw your head tilt.
X-Files.
I
Got
was
me
like,
all
oh.
gummed up.
X-Files. That's what that
Oh,
was.
okay.
X
Yeah, yeah,
Files. So that's what you've been doing.
yeah. So that's what I've been up to. Yeah.
What you been up to?
Playing. I just finally finished. Actually, I finished a lot of media things this week. It's weird how at this stage in life I count. This is really dumb, but we're a media podcast, so it's okay. But I count finishing like a TV show or a game as like an accomplishment. I'm like, yeah,
It's like a life achievement.
yeah. It's like, yeah, this
a
feels
life
good. Like it's
achievement.
done. It's one thing.
Gotta
off
get
the
that
list.
life platinum
So,
trophy.
so I finished. Oh,
Life
gosh.
doesn't give you trophies, boy.
You're not the boy. I finished season 2 of Daredevil finally. Holy crap! I can't wait for the
I
Punisher.
still haven't finished
Dude,
it.
Punisher's freaking dope. Love that shit.
I love the moral
Yeah,
dilemma between
Oh,
the
yeah.
two characters.
it's awesome. Yeah, you need to watch season
I know
2.
I do. I did
It's
watch
really
season
good.
1, and it is probably my favorite. Live action. When I say live action, it's my favorite superhero like show
by
slash
far.
story. It's incredible.
If
Already.
you
Season
thought that
2
now,
outdoes season
I think
1.
season 2 completely blows season 1 out of the water.
Which that is a lot because
Yeah.
season 1 blew my mind.
no,
So,
season 2 was fantastic. Like
Fight
Frank,
scenes are impeccable.
the dude who plays Frank Castle, he's from The Walking Dead. He is like the perfect Like I could not conceive of another person playing the Punisher.
Which is funny
Like, he's
'cause I
just
remember-
so good.
remember when they were showing him as like he was going to be the Punisher? I was really skeptical because he's like my least favorite character from Walking Dead, from what I remember. Because he's just a
I didn't know he was in
Jack
Walking Dead.
Mm.
I've never seen the show.
I think his
No, he was-
character is like awful though.
his character's like he is originally what's the guy's name?
Dale.
Dale. Yeah, he's like
Is it Dale?
Dale's friend, but then he like drama like sleeps with his wife or something like that, and then because they think he's dead, but he's actually alive, and it's like ugh.
Yeah. So, but it's good. So
you finished season 2?
finish season 2. Can't wait for Punisher to come out. I just finished Mass Effect Andromeda this morning, and I stand by my statement, which I made in the last episode, which is I like Andromeda the most.
We're gonna have to definitely
So,
save that one for the
we're
next
gonna-
tilting episode.
Oh yeah. So quick dive into it. I just think I think actually Chris and I talked about it when we reviewed it when we were doing it. We were recording the podcast last year. Is like the characters are just way like your crew is just so much better in my opinion universally. Not to say that the crew in the other games was bad, but there were a lot of characters that I just like didn't care for and just didn't have a lot of like.
But 2 had like really good people though. I think that's where it's hard.
So
to...
that's the thing is there are a few that I would say like if you take those characters out, it's not the same game.
Yeah.
So if you take Garrus out, if you take Thane out, if you take
Thane, my favorite.
I think even if you take Legion out, if you take Miranda, give or take, I don't know. But there's a few that with Andromeda, I'm like, I just can't conceive not having this character around. Like, and everyone has very different motives and very different characteristics. And so when you do, there's like loyalty missions that you do. And in my opinion, those were way, 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 way more fun in Andromeda and way, way, way deeper into who these characters are and like what drives them and their personalities and stuff. And I just like Ryder better, honestly. Like I honestly like Ryder better than Shepard, which is like blasphemy.
Wow.
And I have no problem standing by that. Like I think what it is in the original game, you have the Renegade Paragon system, which is great. But in this one, you have 4 options. So it's like a more emotional responding in the moment to the emotional needs. There's kind of like a cut and dry, like this is just the fact, this is reality. There's a kind of like jokey, confusing, like I'm going to kind of be satirical about this. And then there's a like little more harsh one. And so for me, I really enjoyed that because I hated in the first series where it was like, I either have to sound like a pea bag, you know, just like this softy who's like, well, I don't know, whatever, or I have to be a douche and like,
well,
I
do agree
like,
that the majority of them, from what I remember, I like can't really be valid because I haven't played Mass Effect 2 in like 4 years. But from what I remember, the decisions were pretty balanced in that because it was what's good and bad.
Paragon is good, Renegade is bad.
Renegade, okay. With the Paragon ones, they were usually pretty like you were resolving conflict, and then the Renegade ones, there were some, the majority of the Renegade ones were like basically just you have the option to just either talk it out or just shoot the dude, which you're like, obviously it's not going to help.
Right.
But there were some too where it's like you're questioning your morals in that quick decision moment, and that made it much more interesting because you're like, this is a terrible person and like he might cause terrible events in the future. So do I act a renegade or do I actually like let him and that made it much more interesting. But so, I guess if that's the same in Andromeda,
so this is a perfect example. So there's one dude, Liam, and then there's one Asari, PB, and both are awesome characters, but you have two loyalty missions of them that are pretty similar. One of them is like he's trying to help out, Liam is trying to help out with the Nexus, which is like the big homeworld ship that made it out into the Andromeda galaxy, and he's trying to help out, but he accidentally gets this person that he was helping caught by these raiders or whatever. So he's like, okay, look, I screwed up really, 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 really bad, and I really, really, really need you to bail me out. I'm super sorry, I get it, but like just help me because I don't want bad stuff to happen. And so during that mission, he's like kind of taking over, which he's very inexperienced and kind of like antsy and anxious. And so for me, it was really funny having those moments where you have like there wasn't like a Renegade Paragon where you're like, I can be really supportive and be like, hey, it's gonna be okay, you know, or like, you idiot, what are you doing? And so instead there's so like one moment there's like a door that goes open and it opens to space, all this stuff is flying out, and your two options are like be really jokey and be like, you know, I really want to hug Liam, you know, like in this like really intense moment, it's hilarious and they're like laughing at each other like in this like you're literally gonna die. Or there's an option where you can be like, I literally can't believe that you screwed up this bad that we're about to die.
Yeah.
And so there's these two options, which I love because it's like for me, you have to hear me out.
No, I do want to hear you out.
So the thing is for that. So what I like about this is, so then you go to the PB mission and it's very similar. She gets like this technology stolen from her or whatever, and she basically tricks you into going to this like volatile volcano planet by getting you into an escape pod and ejecting it before you can see anything. And so in that moment, the response is you literally have like the same categories. You can give like a joking like, well, I guess this is what we're doing, or you can be like mad. And so for me, what I loved is the depth that I can be more mad at PB because I don't like PB as much as I like Liam as a character. And so in that moment, it's like, PB, you messed up, like you screwed up. And it's like, but if it's in that Paragon Renegade system, it's a little more cut and dry. Like if you've been playing Paragon, you have to be, it's like, I don't know, it was more gray instead of extremes, and I like that. So that's my personal preference, and I know people will completely disagree, and that's totally fine. But I think for me, I liked that Ryder's a little more like you actually have to grow with him. You can have different responses towards different characters. You don't have to just be like everything's gonna be Paragon, everything's gonna be Renegade. But I thought it was dope. So anyway, so finish that. I could go on forever, and I want to get Chris on here sometime so he and I can revisit
that'll be a field day.
Re-review it again. But so finished Daredevil season 2, finished Andromeda this morning, started playing some Mario Odyssey. That game is dank, maybe even donk.
Ugh.
Me do.
Oh, new donk.
So I'm blown away. Like Nintendo is just like,
they just know how to make games. It's legitimately like when they come out with a new title, it's funny to see when you see like a AAA game come out these days. It's always like people are super skeptical, but then when Nintendo's like, we're making a new Mario game, making a new Zelda game, everyone is like, this will be the best thing ever. Yeah. Everyone gets super excited, super hyped, and then it like majority of the time, at least from like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, from that perspective, they exceed expectations or meet them at least, which a game should always do.
Yeah.
So
I'm super stoked. I saw a joke online where it was like, Nintendo is in contention for Game of the Year, and they're going up against Nintendo. So I think, I mean, I literally remember like when we did our Switch review when it launched, we were like, everyone hates it. We think it's super cool. And I just remember all the people who are just, this system's going to fail and this system's worthless and no one's going to want portable's dead. We have smartphones and everyone's like,
And now
everyone's like, I'm spoiled. I want this on the system. Like you say that all the time, Phil. You're like, I want everything to be portable now.
Because
like,
I only play portable basically.
Yeah.
So
I just
like,
I don't
want
know. I
everything
just
to
think
be
it's
portable
hilarious.
now.
Well, it's
Yeah.
great portability too. I was even switching from, I was like having something playing on the TV while I played my like Odyssey on the Switch or the undocked version, and it felt pretty much the same. Like I like having still on the TV because you get that it's
Bigger
a little more.
feel.
It's
Yeah.
it's bigger and it's more immersion, but at the same time, the convenience of literally just popping it off and like having other stuff run while I play it is just
absolutely,
phenomenal.
definitely. So then just listening to some tunes. I've been jamming Stick to Your Guns new album, which is really good. Their lead vocalist, I don't know I can't think of his name, but
He's pretty brutal.
yeah. I think
brutal.
I like his he's not like a hardcore screamer, but he's not like a straight melodic singer either. So he just has a very
He's
unique,
good at doing the yell screaming.
Yep. Yeah. So he almost reminds me of like Ivan Moody in a way. Kind of whereas like his screams
More
aren't
like a
like
punk
screams.
version
It's
of
almost
Who's
like
Ivan
guttural.
Moody?
What?
Who's Ivan Moody? For those that don't know.
Ivan Moody, Five Finger Death Punch lead singer. So
Oh,
Yeah.
neato.
New song by
Neato.
them too, which is good. So
yeah,
I want to check that out.
And actually, I'm really surprised. I don't know. I mean, you went with your brother Austin or Nick and I to Hollywood Undead, but their new album. Have you listened to
Yeah.
5 yet?
I listened to a couple of songs. I kind of gave up with them for a while because it kind of seemed like they went like the party boy route. Like, let's just rap
sure.
about beer and weed all the time, even
Basically.
though like they admitted that
Is
they don't
kinda-
really do either of those things.
Right,
They just
which-
do it
yeah,
because it's,
exactly.
like,
They're like, well,
appealing
we're all
to
like
it.
40, so we
yeah,
can't do
but
this anymore.
I did listen to a couple of the newer songs because they show up in my release radar on Spotify.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're pretty good actually.
I can't. There's one song with J3T that is really good. Where I think what I really appreciate about it
Was that
is
Fear?
I think it was Fear. I
it's
think
called
you're
Fear.
right.
Yeah.
But then there's another one where it's just Danny. Like the whole song is just Danny.
I like Danny.
And so
He's amazing.
yeah,
vocals.
like I think that's the thing that's really stuck out to me is I watched a video where they were talking about J3T was describing the album and what the theme is, and it sounds like a lot of their music replicates this, but they're talking like Ben to Hell is about this, but people coming to LA and them being LA natives for decades, and then they just kind of see people come in and get swallowed up by the city and all the dreams and stuff like that. So the whole album I think is like a narrative of like people coming into LA and then their dreams just getting torn apart and being turned into like the cesspool that people kind of can sometimes associate with the nastier parts of LA and stuff like that. So it's really good. And like the song, I'm really impressed. Like I think there definitely is like a party boy feel.
That's kind of how they always been.
Yeah,
though.
they've always been that since Swan Songs. But I think they're kind of like, I don't want to say they're my guilty pleasure band, but they're one of those bands where it's like, I'm not like a diehard fan, but I just kind of like enjoy.
They're fun to listen
I like
to.
their sound.
Even the party boy songs, like they jam.
Dude, like War Child from their last album, like I love that song. So anyway, so enough about me. Philip, what have you been up to?
Yeah.
Still reading books? Nerd.
Yeah, I still have been.
Nerd alert.
I finished the series I was reading, the 3
Nice.
books, which was a lot of reading. They were 800 pages each, and I finished all 3 of them in
Dang.
like a week and a half, I think.
Are you
That's-
serious?
Yeah.
How do you find this much time?
I just didn't play any video games or anything.
Oh, is this what happens when you don't play video games? You read.
I read
hundreds.
books, yeah.
Way to like promote our culture. It's like, oh, we love video games, but you're actually more productive if you don't play video games.
Well, I mean, the thing that I've been realizing is like with reading, like there's like productive reading where like you could read about like different topics or whatever, like
Sure.
and learn things, or you can read like I'm reading fantasy, so it's kind of just like an alternative to video games or TV.
Yeah.
Although I've been realizing that like for me, reading stimulates my mind more and like makes me like think of things and stimulates like the creativity in me. Whereas video games doesn't do that as much because it kind of like
It's like doing it for you. Your mind is like processing the world that you're reading about and like the
because
powers
I have
and
to
whatever scenes
visualize
go
the
on.
people and
Right.
visualize the scenes and the architecture and stuff,
Mhm.
which is fun for me to do. Not that that's how it is for everybody, but that's just what I enjoy about it. So I've been enjoying that. I started the next. There's like different series within this series, so I started like the next books in that. But I started playing Mario, which is super fun.
Wait, how far did you get? I never asked.
I got all of the moons on the sand world that I
Okay.
needed to leave, but I'm gonna keep searching around and finding the rest of the moons if I can.
Nice.
Just
Did
because
you,
I don't want to like speed through the
Well, I
game.
mean, you can
Sure.
go back to the worlds and stuff.
Yeah, I just want to enjoy it. Though.
Yeah, I
I'm
totally
not
agree.
really like on a mission because I feel like for me, Mario isn't really like as much about the story as it is about the experience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I just want to like do everything I can right
Nice.
away and
That's true.
Just
yeah,
enjoy
I
the
relate
game.
to that. That's
because
kind of how I was.
I'm probably not gonna have time to like speed through and beat it because I want to keep reading and stuff too. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like play it here and there, and that's why I like the portable too. Because I'm going on a work trip next week, so I'll probably bring it with me.
Oh,
and
frick yeah, dude.
Yeah.
play on the plane and
Perfect
stuff.
time.
Prime.
Everyone's gonna be like, hey, "You playing Mario?"
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, bro.
Well,
Getting
you
some
can
moons,
do
dog.
you can do a little 2-player. Make
Yeah,
a friend.
I need to do that. That sounds cool because I keep seeing the.
it sounds
Sounds cool. It's got the 2P
Cool.
2P replay or whatever,
Yeah.
or resume or whatever.
Nice. So I'm curious because Zach and I have always been Nintendo. Like that
We're
was like the
Nintendo boys.
majority. Like we are Nintendo kids. Like I love Sony and whatever, but Nintendo is like bread and butter. For you now, being an early adopter of the Switch, have you like swayed at all playing like Mario now, like having the Switch and the portability, like playing some of these games that you didn't have access to?
I think I've definitely been swayed into like the Nintendo boat because Nintendo's never really been on my radar other than Pokemon because I had a DS but I just bought Pokemon basically,
Sure.
and then sometimes I would play like Fire Emblem or games that looked cool. But I think with the Switch, I'm on Nintendo's radar now. I'm still kind of like wary. I don't want to spend too much money.
Right.
It is
But-
very easy to.
But
spend
every
a lot of
time I
money.
see a
Oh,
game,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I want to get Doom on the Switch just because
Frick yeah, dude.
because of portability.
Yep.
I want to get Wolfenstein on the Switch because of portability. I want to get Skyrim on the Switch. I think like for me, I'm more of a fan of non-Nintendo IPs. But I think I'm sold on the Switch, the concept of the Switch, like portability. I'm not like I would rather play Skyrim versus Mario, but
Oof.
Yeah, for sure.
that's just my.
Some
Or I'd
fighting
rather
words.
Yeah, I'd rather play like Skyrim, Wolfenstein, those kinds of games, like shooters and like
Sure.
RPG style games
Yeah.
over like Zelda or Mario. But
Mm-hmm.
not to say that those games aren't fun. They're just.
But that's not what you're into.
That's not my
your
thing,
niche. Yeah.
But I think the Switch is unique and cool enough that it has. I'm sold.
Mhm.
Like most of the games on my wish list for Christmas are Switch games and stuff. So.
Nice. There's some of
It's
me
a
that
pretty-
really wants. I mean, I played Doom on the PS4, which that might be a shock to play it on a less powerful system. Not that it matters, but just like having played it.
It'd
but-
be a kind of weird transition.
yeah.
That's kind of why I want Wolfenstein on the PS4 is because there is something I like for a game like that. I kind of I'd put the graphic boost over the portability. I would say not that like the Switch has bad graphics. 'cause
Totally know what you mean.
for what it is.
Yeah.
I know Mario Odyssey. I was like wow because
Mm-hmm.
it is definitely like the most beautiful looking Mario game to date. But
So crisp.
yeah, but in terms of like shooters and stuff, and in terms of games that are on different systems, I would feel more comfortable with that because it's almost like I see the Switch as my platform for like whatever RPGs they get or like Mario games, Zelda games, Kirby games. But then I have the PS4 for shooters or like their first person shooters or those AAA titles that I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
yeah,
Definitely.
wow.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
what I've
thanks
been
for
doing.
coming to the podcast
Yep.
today.
See you guys.
That's it.
It definitely
Um,
sounded like we were just done.
I don't think I've played anything else music wise.
Wait, real quick, I want to apologize for this chair.
Squeaky.
We got a
I need
really
to.
squeaky
I need
chair.
to put some.
Get some WD-40
Some
on that.
oil.
WD-40.
That'd be a day 40.
That'd be a
WD-40.
great rapper name.
Yeah.
We just need to start making a
It's
list
basically
of.
E40.
So we've got Little Debbie. That'd be a great rapper name. WD-40.
No, there's already E40.
No, but that's why it's funny. Is WD-40 is like
Okay.
a brand of like lubricant. For,
I know. Yeah, I know. But
So I just think it'd be
what if
hilarious.
E40 was going for that, but he was like, no, I'm going to change it to E.
WD
That's funny.
D E E40.
E40.
Trying to think of other things. Yeah, mostly just reading and Mario.
Sweet.
What's your
You-
favorite book, Phil?
My favorite book
Yeah.
Oh,
of
snap.
all time,
Yes.
nonfiction and fiction,
Yes.
that I've read so far, or
Yes.
that I might read someday.
The ones you've read now, Phil. You can't pick a
Um,
favorite that you haven't read.
The two series that I can think of that have like stuck with me was when I first read The Hunger Games. it's young adult fiction, but when I first read The Hunger Games, I remember just like, and that wasn't that long ago. I wasn't like a teenager. I was like 20.
You're past your angsty phase.
Yeah.
So it was like a valid
The
enjoyment.
government's trying to put me in a cage, make me fight other people.
So when I first read those books, I think it was when I first got a Kindle, which I buy a Kindle every once now and then I sell it and then buy it because I like keep deciding I don't like electronic books and then whatever. But I first got a Kindle, then I found The Hunger Games and I read through them, and I just remember like reading the book and then like going to like get a snack or something and like having these vivid images in my mind of like I felt like I was watching a movie because I would like get out and then I'd be like, whoa, what the heck's going on? So like
you start seeing like arrows fly at you and swords going in there.
And so I really liked those books for like its ability to conjure up images and things in my mind. This I think my favorite is the books I just finished reading was the Mistborn trilogy. Like it had the same effect on me. Like I just felt like I was watching a movie while reading the book. So
Let's check it out.
Sick.
Sounds nice.
pretty good.
Dope.
Really long though. 800 pages, 3 books.
You don't
I'm
have
already
time.
and I'm already trying to read Lord of the Rings. That's enough in and of itself.
Wayne, you're still a student.
And I'm still a student.
Yeah.
I need to finish Lord of the Rings.
I got to read other crappy books before I read any good books.
Telling you, reading sucks.
Yeah.
No, it
Just
doesn't.
kidding. I'm just
I mean,
kidding.
reading's fun, but it takes a lot
Latin words.
takes
Reading
a
is
lot
fun.
of effort. Yeah.
Take a look in a book.
So yeah,
Reading rainbow.
that's what we've been doing.
Yes.
So you had a
correct.
you had a
Do you have a
question.
segue,
You
Phil?
had a question for, I think for Zach and I, maybe for the people. What's
For
the
the
point of
people.
non-flavored creamer?
Yes. What the frick? No. So you guys kind of told me.
Yeah,
I
we
literally,
had the
I
discussion
literally, I
a little
want
bit.
to
Zach was
yeah.
about to go off on
I want to
you.
It's about
understand.
to
I
go
want to understand.
ham.
And you worked at Collectivo, Zach, so I get it. You probably will have an actual answer for me. But I was at work and I was getting coffee and I was going in the drawer to get just creamer pods, and they had French vanilla and just regular creamer. Original.
Was it called half and half?
No, it's just like
Just says
it
original.
was just like creamer is like original.
Really?
And I looked at it and I was like,
It's probably just half and half.
probably. So again, my point was like, what's your point? Like what? Like why are you here? Why are you here? Half
I feel like
and
there's
half?
three
What's-
there's
what's
three
the
types
reason?
of
so just judgmental of cream. Really.
I am.
so coffee.
unacceptable.
Your ignorance is through the roof with coffee.
Hashtag
Just
not
kidding.
all creamer.
I feel like there's three
Not all creamers.
there's three
There's
types
French
of
vanilla. You got Irish cream, hazelnut, butter
to
rum.
distill it down. There's
Butter
three
rum.
types of coffee drinkers. There's the real coffee drinkers like me who drink it black,
Same.
and then there's middle tier who need a little something just to like cut the edge of the bitterness of coffee.
I'm a coffee
So they
plebe.
so
I
they
won't-
pop
I won't
they
deny.
pop half and half in there. That's the original creamer.
I'm a coffee peasant.
And then there's peasants like you who just dump sugar in their coffee.
That's
you said it so.
absolutely-
I like how you said it so sincerely too. There's like they are peasants like you.
We
Who
have
only
compassion
put
for them, but
Yeah.
they are peasants.
There's
No.
there's like a whole.
Just like
After working at Collectivo, you get many more variety of people and what kind of coffee they like. Like sometimes to the point where you're like, are you sure you want that in your coffee? you know.
Yeah.
So for the creamer, to make my argument and stance on it, the original creamer, when you do half and half, it gives more texture to the coffee. That's another thing too.
that
so
sounds gross.
well, I mean, like
It does the same thing. It makes it creamy.
Like if you
yeah,
tell
but
me
there's no
if you-
sugar.
You're doing that. You're doing that already with like the cinnamon too. Is like
Yeah,
you're
but then
adding
it's like-
texture to it.
oh, and it's cinnamon French vanilla. Like there's a little.
Well, it's
there's a
not-
little
it's not
extra
that it's-
something. Like it's not just like
Yeah.
texture.
Well,
it's kind of
not
like if you
flavorless,
like drinking
it's-
black coffee, but today you just like I'm not feeling a bitter beverage.
Yeah.
So you want a little bit. You want a little bit of cut. You want
little
something
bit
to
of
cut the
something,
edge. Yeah.
Are you
Cut the
tired of
edge.
bitter beverages?
Are you tired of bitter beverages? Try French vanilla creamer without French vanilla flavoring. It's called original.
Original.
Yeah, no, it's basically like old school Pepsi or old school.
Yeah,
It's
basically.
like they put it in a-
just sugar water, whatever.
So
Anyway,
that's the reason.
I literally just drink coffee for caffeine. I don't drink it because I'm like a connoisseur.
Yeah, you're
I mean,
a
that's why. That's why I drink it
pleb-
too.
I'm a
but
peasant. I will.
I basically
now, I will
trained
own it.
myself to drink black coffee because I just didn't want all of the.
Yeah, I was the
crap.
same way.
Diabetes.
But yeah. So, I mean, I
For
drink
real.
coffee without creamer before diabetes. So
Yeah. I know for me, I literally forced myself. I was just telling someone this, like, I think today, I was talking with some friends. I was somewhat forced into drinking black coffee because I would go into Collectivo at like 5 a.m. in the morning and be like, I need caffeine. And I felt really awkward, like, filling up my coffee cup and then, like, going over to the station and, like, putting in creamer. And I was like, I'm supposed to be working yet here. I'm just, like, making coffee right now. And I was like, I need to just drink it black. And then the first couple times, it's just like, oh. But then eventually you develop a taste for it because I know they're very like I think that's what I respected about Collectivo is they're like snob to the top,
Mm-hmm.
and it, like in a constructive way. I think we definitely bash Starbucks because we're like, bro, frappuccinos aren't just like sugar and
Yeah,
sugar
the
and milk.
See,
It's
that's
just
me
like
though.
Dash
That's
of
me
coffee.
though.
They're not bad. I'm not saying I don't
No,
like
I
them,
know what
but
you mean though.
when people
Yeah.
are like, I know they literally had to tell me on like one of my days at work. They were like, yeah, so when people say like they want a French vanilla frappuccino, just tell them that we don't do that. We do like iced. What is it? It was like kind of like blended coffee or something like that, or like a blended mocha with vanilla in it. So
because
like,
it's copyright infringement.
no, not even copyright. It's that they just come in like asking for Starbucks drinks, and they're like,
Oh.
and we basically have to be like, oh, you mean this? They're like, what is that? It's like it's what you said, but
Because you got to deal with a bunch of peasants like me.
yes,
Yes.
People would always
No.
do that at McDonald's too, because they have the frappes, which is a
Oh,
frappuccino,
yeah.
but they can't call it
Right.
frappuccino because Starbucks owns the rights to that. But they'd always be like, don't if they ask for a frappuccino, make sure you reiterate the point. Give it to them. We don't have them. We have frappes. I used to love frappes though,
them Yeah. what
but it's literally a milkshake
yeah.
that people think is coffee.
through you.
I can feel your anger from your frappuccino.
My coffee of choice is Rockstar Energy though, so it's fine.
It's not
Hey.
like coffee drink.
Yeah,
Oh
I
boy.
hear that.
that's the joke.
I hear that.
My coffee of choice. So yeah, speaking of,
Oh, I want. Sorry to interrupt. Funny story. Just because I know we're all Rockstar fans, or Phil specifically.
mhm.
There's a guy in my Japanese lecture who he said he hadn't had a Rockstar in a long time, and he was super tired that day. And so before class started, I just see him open it up, take a giant swig. He's like, oh, just,
That's how I feel every day.
yeah,
Dude, yeah.
just so satisfied.
I stopped drinking. I've been getting like the uber sugar free monsters in the morning.
It's not just
Well, because
sugar
there's
free.
there's
Absolute
there's
Zero
like
or whatever?
yeah, absolute
I
zeros.
love those.
Yeah,
Like the
those
colored
are
ones.
good.
The white
Yeah,
one
they're like
is so
textured.
good.
That's,
Pretty
that
sweet.
sounds so.
It's
cool.
so
It's
good.
pretty
It's
cool.
like a
You're
white
not talking about
good.
the liquid, right?
What?
You're talking about the can.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, the
because when you
liquid's
see,
white
you were
as
like,
well.
yeah, but you were like,
Yeah.
oh, the white with the texture, and I was like, oh,
Creamer.
bro. Creamer. It's got
Creamer.
creamer in it.
Original creamer.
Original
Anyway.
Monster creamer flavored. Yeah. Speaking of Rockstar Energies,
Transition.
Lay it on us.
Transition.
Like,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
Speaking of which,
speaking of caffeinated beverages, what is your guys' opinion on the amount of games that currently exist? that
Dude,
we have
it's
to play?
nuts. It's through the roof.
unacceptable.
Yeah.
You should
Actually, it
see
is
my
Way
acceptable.
too freaking many.
You should see my stack.
Yours is
My
unacceptable.
backlog is
Your stack is
You
never
get me.
unreal.
You get me upset every time I think about your games.
He's just like brooding in the corner.
No, because-
I want these games.
No, because he has. I remember you're
he's
building
got like
up.
3 copies of some games.
Yeah, you have 3 copies.
Okay, first
of
off.
Payday.
So that was because I wanted to be a good friend, so we could all play
Although I
Payday
have one of
together.
your copies of
Correct.
Payday,
yeah. So it's,
I don't
it
have
was to
any
be
of
a
your
good
copies.
friend. You can have one, but
You're
you
not
never
my
play
friend.
it.
I'm kidding.
We need to play that, by the way.
We do need to play that.
It's coming out for
I
the
just-
Switch.
We also need to play it when the Ethan and Ela DLC drops.
Yeah.
Is that?
it's
is
like
there
a
a
legit
release
thing.
date?
It's
Yeah, I saw.
I don't.
real thing.
So
I don't know
amazing.
when it is though. So unless it's for a new game or is it?
No, it's for Payday.
No, it's for
2. It's for Payday 2.
That's weird.
They just keep releasing DLC for some reason.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's just whatever. It's
We-
like the
we do
game
need to play
changes
that.
so many. Like even while we had been playing it, like they kept like like I remember we came back and there was like 50,000 more masks.
Yeah,
and, like
you're
they
like,
rechanged
"What?
the whole structure
What
of how
is
you
this?"
upgrade your character.
Yeah, dude,
We're
I
like,
dug it.
can you just change your game
Yeah.
like in the middle of a release?
I don't know. Sure.
So
No,
But yeah.
it's my backlog is so so now that Andromeda is done, I'm on to Persona 4. So I will be sitting down and committing
And
to playing
beat
Persona
it?
4.
Yes.
And to beat it.
so what
We've
is
been, we've
what
been
is
long
your
done with that game.
dude? That's a fun game. Good game.
The ending
So what is
also-
your guys' strategy for managing that? Like with
Like
your,
playing a ton of games.
Yeah, because you're in college,
Yeah.
you're working and married,
Mhm.
as am I.
Mhm.
Like
So,
how,
yeah, we got some interesting
within your
perspectives.
own personal experience, how do you manage that
Hmm.
backlog?
I don't.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Don't.
I
think-
I don't mean to be like
No.
super snotty about
No,
it,
it's
but
okay.
the one example that I can give is when I sold you Beautiful Joe, because I like didn't have a GameCube and I was going to
Yeah.
school and I was like, you can just, I was like, if you want to just buy it from me for $10, you were like, yeah, I'm gonna build up my GameCube collection, then just have a ton of GameCube games to play. And I've never seen you touch it.
Yep.
I was there when he
Like,
bought
at
his
all.
GameCube,
Yeah.
and you never played it.
When's the
You
last
did
time?
play
I
Beautiful
did.
Joe
I
once.
did play
He
Beautiful
did play
Joe
Beautiful
one time.
Joe.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Once.
I didn't have
When,
my
when,
memory
was
card, so-
that?
That was last year.
It was like a week after you bought it, because
Okay.
I remember you bought it, then you went back home, so then the GameCube was just like sitting there, I'm like, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you came back and played Beautiful Joe.
That's fair.
So
I think so. Here's my thing. I'm not gonna defend what I do. I don't think it's a good way to live.
I'm a terrible person.
I'm a terrible
my
person.
life choices are terrible, but I ain't changing them.
I
Set my
live.
ways.
I live in. I'm a ride or die kind of lifestyle person.
And you
and
ride.
I'm dying by how many games I have burying me.
I feel like
So-
my perception of you. Here's my understanding
Yes.
of your game philosophy.
Yes.
Is
Find it. Buy it.
you know what games you're gonna like for the most part, and then if you want to buy it, you just buy it, and you're like, I don't need to play this right now, but I want to have it, because someday you might
Yes.
realize you have
Yeah.
more free time than you will, and then you're gonna play it. So like when you're 60 years old, you're gonna be like cranking through your
Finally, I can
backlog. You're like, finally, I can get caught up on all those
I'm gonna
PS4
start. I'm
games.
just gonna put all my money into my retirement so I can retire at like 35 and just
Then
Yeah.
you can play all your
catch
games.
up on all
So
my
what's your
games.
retirement plan? 35. 35, really? Yeah, I got a lot of video
I
games.
got a lot
to
of
get
I got a
caught
lot
up
of PS4
Got
games
a lot
to
of
beat.
a lot of games to play.
I got a
That
lot
would
of
be
games
that
to
would be
play.
golden though.
Got
Retire
a
at
lot of games to
35,
play.
just
It's an
like
interesting
chill, read
perspective.
books, and play video games.
So here, all right, so let me
Wait,
just.
I do want to iterate though my perspective on your philosophy.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
okay, go
we'll
for it.
interject you.
What I've experienced and I've talked about before with people is I remember the best another example, Deus Ex Machina, or yeah,
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Yep.
That's what it. Not Deus
Yep.
Ex Machina. Not the
Machina's
movie.
like the first one.
Yeah. I remember you bought it. You were super excited. You played it. You were like, "This game's really frustrating. Like, I just can't beat it. And it's just not my style." You sold it. You're down the line. We were going to GameStop. You're like, "Oh, Deus Ex." It's like, I'm gonna pick this up. I was like, "Didn't you just sell that?" Like, yeah, I just sold it, but I don't know. Like, I really like the gameplay. I like the style and stuff. And then you bought it, and you played it a little more. And then I don't know if you sold it again or not. You may have
Sure,
beaten it at
sure.
that point. But,
I did. No, I did beat that.
Okay,
Recently.
yeah, you
The
beat it
first
at that
one?
point. But
Yeah, the
Or
first one.
the one for 360 or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I remember you trying to beat that, and you were getting
Yeah.
so ticked.
Oh, dude,
but I
was so
thought you sold
irritated.
it twice at one point.
I think I only sold it once,
Okay.
and then I bought it again. So here's my thing.
Sorry,
I think
I'm not
no,
trying
no,
to
no,
bash. I'm
It's
just
no.
saying.
I think it's hilarious. I think this is funny. So here's the thing. I think for me, what it is one, it's to relieve my conscience. So I'll sell games if I'm like, I think I just build up in my head things where I'm like, no, I'm never gonna play. No, I'm not. No, dude, I'll get $10 for it. I'm never playing this game. I'll just sell it. And then I'm like, I really miss this. And then I'm like, I gotta play it. And then and then there's like the sense of accomplishment of like wanting to beat it. So I think the weird thing is when I first got Deus Ex, I think it's like, as I'm thinking back, I think it's really funny how many games I'm being redrawn to and like wanting to go back and play. Excuse me, go back and play. And I think it's because in my mind, being younger, I'm realizing how much more fortitude I have now to stick through difficult games and just like figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, and
Plus
so
the
I think for
sequel
me,
had been coming out.
yeah,
especially
and that
Deus
was
Ex.
too. So I was like, oh, I really want to beat this now because I actually really enjoyed this and I love cyberpunk stuff. And so I think for me, what it is I did not have as much endurance to stick through hard games, and
Still don't.
and even like quote unquote like difficult game. I think so, like Mario Sunshine. Like we had Mario Sunshine for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get into it because I just couldn't. I didn't want to. It was like
Yeah.
this is difficult, and not like difficult in terms
For-
of Dark
from a
Souls.
kid-
It
from a
ruins
kid's
you.
perspective,
But yeah,
though,
it's like a
like-
younger middle school kid
Yeah.
who isn't as like I wasn't as sharp at like
Platforming
getting
games
good
get
at
really
games.
confusing when you're
And
a kid.
yeah, and I
Now
even
it's just
think
like,
of-
oh, I jump here, jump here.
yeah, well, I even think of like Kingdom Hearts and stuff too, and like I was like, dang,
brutal.
I remember when these games were brutal, and
No,
and then it's like
actually-
you go back and you're like, oh, this is how I figure this out, and you like you just figure it out quicker. Because I can imagine if I would have been in middle school and getting to that last boss when I was fighting Ansem, I would have been like, never touching this again. This is dumb. Like this is ridiculous. This is stupid hard. Whereas now I was like, oh, I just need to level up. I need to get a better Keyblade. I need to actually
Yeah.
map out my skills and get potion. And, it was just like coming back. Like I think I come back to games after having some patience, blow off steam of in the moment being like, oh, I can't take this. And so then I jump. So part of that also is handled. The reason I have such a big backlog is then to take a break from one game, I'll get into another game, but then I'll like get into that game. And then, I'm bouncing around between like 4 or 5 titles, and instead of just like not committing, which is weird because I think when we were younger, and this is what I was going to talk to you guys about and pose this question is like, if you think your ability to manage multiple games got worse as you went on because you had more money. So I think like I remember when we were kids, Zach, and we had we just had the cube. Like that was it.
Yep.
And if we got games, it was like for Christmas or a birthday.
That
So
was
you
it,
had
yeah.
you had a few months stretch where you got no additional games, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like a nut for NBA Street and, you know, NFL Street and these games that it's like you wouldn't consider games that you plug tons of hours into, but I remember spending the tons of weekends, you know, like beating SSX Tricky or like I had Max, I had like the gold outfit, I completed his entire trick library, like I got the best board for him, like I did all this it's like, but that's one of those games you would never think you would do that, but for me, like I didn't have any other options, so I was going to do that, whereas now I have
You have so many games available
and I have a
to you.
$50 monthly game budget that I'm allowed, so it's like even if I don't want it or even if I'm not going to touch it ever again, I'm like, I'll take a shot on this, you know, and so it's a little easier to just build up a huge catalog of things that I don't need to play. Also, just a quick note, we only have 30 minutes left on the recorder.
Okay.
So just as a heads up.
Good to know.
Yep. So, but anyway, so posing to you guys, do you guys think it got worse for you coming from China? Because I think in our notes we had, oh man, remember when we were kids and we had like all this time to just play games? And as I was thinking back, I don't know that I had that much more time.
We didn't have a lot of time.
We didn't have that
games.
much more time, but I think I just literally didn't have anything to play. And so it was like either I'm playing it or not, or I'm doing this or I'm not. It wasn't like, well, do I play Designer? Do I play Overwatch? Do I play Persona?
Yeah,
Do
it was
I
like
play
the
Zelda?
choice.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Because I remember, like, before we got like an Xbox 360, which was way after everybody else did, because we didn't have the money for it.
Yeah.
All we had was a PS2 basically, and we had like all the Budokais, all the Budokai Tenkaichis. I had like Sly Cooper games, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and 3, a bunch of like PS1 games like Spyro and like kind of like the classic early PlayStation stuff. And we basically just played that all the time. Like I remember like you said with SSX Tricky, we had Tricky for the PS2, I think, and we put so much time into that. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and 3, like we put so many hours into that, like grinding through it, getting all the boards and the clothes and like upgrading our
almost like
skaters and stuff.
Yeah, and that might even be like this is going to sound weird because I'm not a psychologist at all, but like the childish mind of, you know, like you're just kind of set and focused on one thing and your mind isn't in the state where you're thinking about so many other things that you're just like focused on a goal. And especially with like SSX Tricky or Tony Hawk Pro Skater, like you just want to accomplish the things that you want to get, or like you want to just unlock the things. And yeah, so I don't really have a game where that was the case for me, but
Well, I think it's interesting now though, because I remember when we were, I think for you that's been Fire Emblem recently.
Oh,
that's been your addiction. Because I remember like when we were younger, like you liked it.
Yeah.
But like all of a sudden now it's like I need to beat these games.
It was
and it's like going through it.
I can share a little bit of light on that. If I can share my perspective being a single college man.
Yeah, how do you manage your
manage
gaming
it?
habits?
My time? It was interesting because I actually was talking with a guy who like just recently got into video games and like got into like only last semester was really starting to play and become a nerd for stuff, and he was like, how do you do it? Like, how do you play all these games yet just like have time for studying, have time for blah blah blah? And I said, well, one, like my major doesn't have a lot of requirements, so like I have a lot of free time, but the thing is I honestly just am only able to commit so many hours to a game. Even like I think the most I've ever plugged into a game, Zelda Breath of the Wild and Persona 5, like recently. That's the longest I've ever just long hauled a game. I know for Breath of the Wild when it first came out, when we were home for the weekend, I probably plugged in like 5 straight hours, but I reached a point where I could not plug any more hours. Like even though the game was fantastic, I was just so burnt out. Like mentally I was like, I just need to think about or do something else. And then I transitioned into something else or did something else. So I think in my mind specifically, I just see, you know, I can only go on for so long and I just need to interact with another source of media. Otherwise I'm just gonna like not stop thinking about Breath of the Wild or not stop thinking about Persona. So that's kind of how I balance it, is just setting like almost even a time limit, or just gauging how long I play and get burnt out, and then just being like, okay, that'll be my game time for the day.
Sure.
So that's how I gauge it.
Interesting.
I'm pretty similar to that. I go through like cycles of interests, kind of, where like I'll play video games like super hard, and I'll just like all my free time will just be like playing video games, and then I'll like play it way too much, and I'll like when I beat Persona 4, like after I beat that game, I was just like, and no other game like felt like I couldn't play any other games. Like I tried playing like Borderlands, and like I have all of my favorites basically now on my shelf, and like I tried playing Borderlands and different games, and I was like, nothing is giving me that same feeling I had while playing this game, and it was kind of like you get a little sad for a day or two afterwards. You're like, frick, it's all gone, everything's over.
Oh yeah, and that's like a very interesting thing too. Is, and I'm curious what you guys think about this, but that purposeful delay. You and I were talking about this in the car, Z, when we were driving over here, but like there's almost a feeling of like, I know I can only, that's why, you know, when people were so mad about Andromeda and how, you know, oh, it sucks and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but this is the only Mass Effect game I'm getting for like maybe the next 3 or 4, maybe 5 years. And so for me, I was like, so I'm going to be a little more lenient. Yeah. And it's like, I'm going to be more lenient and like, and not to the point where I, you know, if it would have been trash, like I would have just not even plugged in the time, but it was like, this is awesome and this is dope. And it is like, just nothing fills the gaming choice ability and the mechanics the way that Mass Effect does. It just no other game. I couldn't play a Telltale game. I couldn't play, you know, even like the Dragon Age series. Like it's not the same. And so there is a feeling of like finishing Andromeda was like, if I want to get this experience again, I have to either play the original series or this again. And then it's like the feeling of like, oh man, that sucks. And then, you know, but I just plugged in 45 hours into this game, and I don't have time to necessarily, you know, especially again, which you guys are just jabbing on me for about my huge backlog. So it's like, man, what do I do if this is the situation that I'm stuck in? So I'm curious what you guys think of, if you like, do you guys do you ever purposefully delay finishing a game, but then have to kind of like backtrack because you're like, oh frick, but I have like 4 games to finish, and this is, you know, I have the time to just delay completing this.
If I delay playing games per se, I might get burnt out and just get bored. Like Fallout 3, I had modded it and I had been playing it, and then I kind of just decided reading just because I was getting like my eyes.
You're just like, you just had this moment of clarity. You're like, what am I doing? Who am I? I need to read.
Yeah, I mean, it was like kind of like that, but it was more of just like
when someone eats too much dessert and they just they're like, I need
some
carrots.
broccoli or something. I've never had that feeling before in my life. But,
well, not like carrots.
Well, according to the intro of this podcast, vegetables are the devil's food.
Yeah.
So makes sense.
But yeah, like sometimes like with a game as big as Fallout or games like that, I'll just like stop playing them and just be like, I got my fill. It's fine. But most games, like, I can't put it down until I finish it. Like Persona, I started to get like a little burnt out on it just because like I want to play something else now. I want to do something else, but it's like I can't do anything else until I beat this freaking game.
Yeah.
Because if I start something else now, I'm not going to finish this.
Sure.
And I'm more like I need to finish the game before I can move on. And like with Fallout, I've played Fallout 3 like 2 times all the way through now, so it's like I can quit playing whenever. I just want to get my nostalgia fix. But with a game like Persona, I was like, I need to figure out what the heck's going on in this freaking game. And so like I just kept plowing through until I got my like 70 hours in or whatever.
Yeah, really.
No, those games,
and that's how I am
exactly.
like when I'm doing something like those books. Like I couldn't do anything else until I like finished those books. And sometimes I try and have a balance where I like do multiple things. Like I'll play a game for an hour, then I'll read and whatever. But sometimes I get like so engrossed into what I'm doing that I just like have to only do that.
And that's an interesting perspective too, because you were saying just like you finished 3 800-page books, and I don't know, like you might be the same too, but for me personally, I'm so bad at starting something and then just like I have interest in it still, but then I just kind of veer off and try other stuff and then just do that. But what I've found is I tend to really like with my time. It's interesting gauging this because I was seeing how like with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure I'd mentioned before that like I started rewatching it again, but I was like, but it's like I kind of finished this semi recently, so why do I need to watch it again? It's because I know what I'm getting out of it, and I know my time will be well spent because I enjoyed it so much.
Like
and
the
that's
risk factor.
Yeah, the risk factor. And same with Fire Emblem too. Like I know whatever I'm going to do, like I'm going to enjoy it because I just love Fire Emblem, even though I've played the Game Boy Advance version like 6 or 7 times maybe. Dang. All the way through. Yeah. And I love it every single time. Like I have not lost love for that game. So that's a testament to that being my favorite game is because I played it so much, yet it's like always has the same entertainment value, and that is interesting. I found that too is I'm not risking my time to do new things or try new things. If I have a large space of time and I'm just like I'll try something new, then that's when like I get into a new game or I get into a new show. But I find that I'm sometimes not willing to take the risk to try something new or try something that I know I'm just going to play for a little bit and then not enjoy, or
Well, there's so many
along those
factors
lines.
too, considering. I think even for me, what I've noticed recently is, especially I think which kind of funny is that's kind of why we started the podcast in the first place, is just to talk about things in a constructive way, but how much pop culture fandom has become a currency. Like if you haven't done or played or seen or watched or experienced certain things either in a genre or a series or whatever, you can't claim it as part of your repertoire, which is like really weird. And so I think in a weird way, subconsciously recently, I think more so, that's been a huge drive behind some of my decisions, like looking at, okay, how many what games do I want to play and all this stuff. And so for me, it's like, I've never beaten Majora's Mask and I really want to do that. And it's like, I love Breath of the Wild, I'm a Zelda fan, but there would be a whole bunch of people would be like, well, have you played Ocarina of Time? Have you played Link to the Past? Have you played?
I asked that.
Yeah, it's like if you
Have
haven't played
Link to the
every
Past?
possible game all the way through,
it's
then
like
you're not a Zelda
you don't.
fan.
It doesn't count, and it's like you can't say. And so I think there's like a weird.
You almost see it as competition. To
Yeah,
be
it's
like, I want to
exactly
have all these.
right.
I kind of feel that too. You want to be, I think, because we define ourselves as gamers. I'd say, in general, like
absolutely.
we love video games and we play that. I think there is an innate thing to like get into a series, get into a genre of games, and just be good at, not only be good at it, but like beat it so that you can say I beat this game.
It. Yeah, exactly.
I enjoy like.
Which I
'cause you
try
could
and
say-
stray away from now because it's kind of like, do I want to do things because I want some sort of like
For the credit,
social
yeah.
repertoire? Because I feel like the older you get and the less time you have to do things, I'm just like, I don't care what
Like,
people
doesn't
think.
matter.
I still have the temptation because like with Fallout on Reddit, people are always talking about if you haven't played Fallout 1 and 2, like the isometric ones, and like, oh, then you haven't experienced Fallout or whatever. I'm like, I don't care.
Sure.
Like, I'm sure they're fun, and I'll probably get to them someday, but it's like, I'm still a Fallout fan.
You can't,
even though I haven't
it's like
played
it
them.
doesn't just negate you from being a fan of something, and that's it. And that, like, we'll say that for another day because going into like fandom and fans and stuff is just
that could be a whole other podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But
Book it.
Book it,
Got it.
literally. I think, like you were talking about before, there's like the nostalgia things that we know. Like, if I do this, I'm gonna get what I want.
I'm going to enjoy it. Yeah.
And then there's new games that are always coming out that are $60, and you're like, frick. And so it's kind of like this balancing game of, I have this much time and this much money. How do I want to use my time?
Yeah.
And I found lately, because of time constraints and money constraints, I've been more drawn to like nostalgia or like old games than I have been towards newer games, because it's like,
If
in
I'm
like
going to use my
3
time,
months, this game's going to be $40, and at that point, then I can play it, and all of like the annoying, like with Mass Effect, like all of the annoying people will be fine. Like the people who don't want to play it aren't going to be playing it anymore, and aren't going to be talking about it, and now I can just enjoy it without like all these noises and ruining my experience of the game.
Yeah.
And like, I've kind of got that mentality now of like, instead of buying all these games, playing through them like 10 hours, not finishing them,
Enjoy
and
what you
just
have.
shelving them,
Yeah.
I basically just like filter it out and like, okay, I'm not buying any games. And then I'll start saying like, okay, well, I can make an exception. I'll buy Mario because I know I'm going to want to play it, and I know we're going to want to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
So it, almost like with the podcast now, it's kind of like fueling like what games will actually like stimulate the discussions that we want to have, and then what games can I just shelve. Like, I'm actually kind of interested in like Assassin's Creed Origins, but I'm not paying $60 for it. I'll wait till it's $15 because it looks really fun and it looks like they've changed a lot of things. But games like that, I'm like, I can wait an infinite amount of time because I'm not like. But if a Fallout game came out, I don't care if it's crap. I'm buying it. Like,
totally.
I'm jumping on it. Pokemon's coming out, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Frick yeah, man.
So there's certain games that I know
no
that I'm
matter
just gonna buy.
how many things I have.
Just,
I think, and maybe that's the difference in why I create such a huge backlog for myself is I'm loyal to very few series, but I like everything, and I want to try everything just to like have, because I just love, and this is, I think it's weird because this is just my personality. I love information. I don't care how stupid or how far-fetched or how abstract it is. It's just information, because for me, information creates pathways that just create patterns that even if they're have nothing to do with each other, it just helps me think about it in a similar way. So for me, that's very much with like games. It's like, oh, well, this is why I have this opinion about this game. You know, so like for Mass Effect, it's like, this is why I enjoy Andromeda so much, is because I've played all these other games that try to do this or like do this or have open world and all this stuff, and I like what they did. And yeah, there's things that like these games do better, this game does. And I can point to all those things, but it's like, but overall, like I really like it.
You're able to like define what you're
exactly.
interested. Yeah, I think that's the big.
It's like a
thing.
weirdly academic hobby perspective.
No, and even more so, I think the note that you just made that I think could apply to anyone that's like wanting to get into more media is the more you experience and the more you kind of get a taste of. You don't have to play the games all the way through. You don't have to watch the show all the way through. But the more you expose yourself to, the more you're able to better define your tastes.
Yeah,
that's a huge thing. Yeah,
100%.
And then on top of that, you're then able to be like, okay, I like these games, so then I should invest my time in these games, or I like these movies, therefore invest my time in these movies. Like that's what I found myself doing with because I had said like I watched The Shining again because, well, one, it's near Halloween time and it's my favorite, it's become one of my favorite movies, but I saw that as a good time investment because I was remembering the first time I watched it and I was like, it was a good investment, and it has developed I've now developed a taste for thriller horror. I've developed a taste for like mind-bending crazy stuff because I've seen Silent Hill, I've seen all those things, and I have an interest in it. Therefore, I know this movie will be a worthy investment. So then on top of that, you can apply that to basically any other media you want to expose yourself to.
Yeah,
definitely.
I definitely agree. I think it's with the amount of time and money that we have or don't have, it's definitely important to, but even like, because I think that's the difference between us, because we have pretty similar ways of doing things. Like we'll buy games, then we'll just sell them and buy other games until we kind of refine our collection down to like the games that we want to have forever. Whereas you kind of just amass.
Yep.
Definitely. So you're more of like a Renaissance man, sort of like, I just want to try all these different things and get experiences, and it's more of like an inspiration for other things you're doing, like writing and whatever. It kind of like fuels your creativity.
Definitely.
Whereas for us, it's more like we have things, we want to experience certain things, and we know what things we want to experience, and so we seek those out, and we create a smaller collection based on those experiences. Like I have BioShock, Fallout, Metro, like all of these like shooters with like twisted
which is interesting.
stories.
Again, pattern wise, that's very reminiscent of Fallout, which you're a mega fan. And some of those are similar.
I'm more of a fan of post-apocalyptic or like social commentary style things and different things. And I think you're more of like you don't have a specific taste. You have I want to just play everything and try everything and experience everything. Whereas I'm less wary of that, or I'm more wary of that because I just don't have money.
And I'm the same way too. Is like I will pursue Nintendo stuff 100%, like Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and even or not even Metroid. That's like another thing, is I'm not just, even though I say Nintendo fans, there are certain games where I'm just like not this diehard fan for everything they produce, because like Metroid I enjoy, but it's not something I will fully invest time into because I know it's just not my style.
But again,
platforming shooter
with the new one that came out, I was like, man, I want to play that so bad, and I knew I would probably like it, but it'd be one that I'd plug like 5 hours into and be like, I wouldn't quit. I wouldn't stop playing because I didn't like it, but I just stopped playing because
you want to play other things.
I want to play
other things. Yeah. So it's just like finding what you value and what you appreciate. Because I definitely agree with that. It's having your sector of like what you enjoy, because it's funny seeing that I have so many systems, but like I only have 2 N64 games or 3 N64 games. I only have like 5 or 6 like PS4 games, but they're all stuff that I know I appreciate. So it's always like it's going to be either platformer or RPG. It's like going to be in those two categories. And like some first person shooters or third person shooters, if they have good story, and that comes from my my main interest being RPGs and role playing games with good stories. So definitely. I think that was a good note to end on, is defining
I like it.
If you want to expose yourself to new media, define your interests and expose yourself and try new things.
Definitely.
Constantly.
And it seems like we all do that, but you tend to keep your games more, whereas we're like, okay, I'm going to sell this game quick before it loses its value. Like Destiny, I was like, okay, I'm going to try playing Destiny because my friends like it, so I'm going to see what it's about. I played it, I was like, this is fun, but I want my money back. I sold it. And I'll do that with some games where like, okay, I'll pay $60 for it, but if I don't like it, I'm just going to sell it for the 50 and take my hit and say $10. It was worth $10 to try this game out.
Yeah.
Whereas you might be more likely to just pay the money and then keep it, and I'll play this later.
Yeah.
Which neither of those are right or wrong. It's just
I think I'm obsessed with everything, and it's like it's terrible because I don't have enough time to be obsessed with everything. But that's the reason I graphic
the
design.
struggle with
It's
the creative
reason,
mind.
Yeah, it's like that's the
Yeah.
reason I graphic design and I write and I draw and I make videos and
Mm-hmm.
I play games and I listen to music and I try to produce music. It's like that's the reason. Like none of those have anything to do with each other, but I want to do it all, and I'm just like obsessed with figuring out how to do it, and that blends into all my tastes with everything else I
Definitely.
enjoy and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's
So-
why I'm really bad at managing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Big
pretty
wrong with
bad.
that.
I would
What's,
hands down say I'm the worst.
It's
So
all
I
good.
acknowledge.
I mean,
We
I'm
respect you.
I
We
my
love you.
I have like collections of things. My collection is books. So like if you see the amount of books I have and the amount of books that I've read in those books is basically the equivalent of your video game.
Yeah,
backlog.
Yeah, well,
I hear
that's
that.
my manga collection is the exact same
Yeah,
way.
so we all have those things. It just happens to be video games for
That
you.
could be fun.
whereas,
I'm gonna book it.
So
Book
we
it.
could-
Book
but
it.
I have one more hypothetical question before we
got
close
10
out.
minutes
Okay.
on this.
So just quick, if you could keep one system for the holiday season and sell everything else so you could afford all the games you want to get that you can't afford,
Wait.
what system? Well, basically, if you could only keep one system right now
Yeah.
and you had to trust that system to give you a quality gaming experience,
Ooh.
what system,
What system would
would
it
you
be?
keep realistically?
And we're talking like any system, right? Old and new school.
Any system, old and
Okay.
new school.
Mm,
Maybe you could have one nostalgia and one like new,
yeah.
I like that.
One
Okay,
old, one
we'll
new.
do that.
That's good.
and make it quick since our
Yeah,
time.
I'll be quick. I out of old school, I would honestly say, maybe the Game Boy Advance.
Ooh,
Okay.
The
interesting.
Game Boy Advance and the
That's
Super.
interesting.
It's a tie between the Game Boy Advance and the Super Nintendo. Because
Okay.
out of the old school, the Super Nintendo, my thing with that is I love those games to death, but at the same time they are just like so infuriating, frustrating, and
Mhm.
but at the same time though, I'd almost want that because I want to conquer it and because I want to get better at them. So the Super NES is really really close second, but the Game Boy Advance has one Fire Emblem. That's a game like I will play till infinity, but also other games too that I really really enjoy and know I'll get my value of because it's basically ports SNES games too. So that's the bonus with that. And on a new systems, I would. That's a toughie. It's like the PS4 and the Switch are the two, and that because those are the two new systems I play.
Yeah.
But I think I'd honestly put the Switch ahead. I would probably say the Switch
Okay.
because when looking at
Interesting.
my games, it's interesting because I have, like I said, I only have 5 or 6 games, but I only consistently play 3 or 4 of them, and because I
Imagine
know
never getting to play Zelda again.
which is unacceptable.
But then there's also like Persona, which
Yeah.
you couldn't play Persona 5.
Without my
you know.
PS4, and I need to play Persona 5, but then at the same time there's some games where like I enjoy having my PS4 for, so I have like Nier Automata that's fun to play, but I don't play it that often. Like Crash Bandicoot, that's fun to play, but I don't play it that often. And then there's Final Fantasy 15, which I have not touched since like the year
But
it came out.
but again, these big titles that you're like, I can't, because honestly, I was wafting really hard between. So retro, hands down, GameCube. Hands down. There's so many just bomb Nintendo exclusives, but then also like really good third party games from EA Sports and like EA Sports Big, and there's even some like GameCube exclusives like Eternal Darkness and
yeah,
some of those other
Time
ones
Splitters.
that Time Splitters. That was across a couple platforms, but just like some of those that eat their way on there. But I had a really hard time thinking between the Switch and the PS4 because with the
That's
Switch,
basically what I'm getting.
I'm really struggling because with the Switch, I would say I'm more of a fan of like Mass Effect and Persona 5, Persona 4.
Oh, but you
and
can't do that
some
though,
of those
because
other
then for
things.
me it's like
But-
Mario. It's
Hey,
like
your
then I'm-
brothers though. One of you has a Switch.
I-
One of you-
Yeah, I know, and because then that's my problem. Is like, do I value Mario and Zelda over like Persona or Kingdom Hearts? That's like
those
really-
there's literally
that's a-
there's those
but that's
games
the
that
funny
I'm
thing-
dying
yeah.
about. I'm
that's the funny
dying
thing. It's
so
not.
hard.
It's not like the hardware. It's not the graphic capability. It's not the.
It's those titles.
It's like- it's
it's
the
like
titles.
4 titles that are literally do it. And so for me,
Yeah.
I would say I almost have to go Nintendo and go with the Switch because I know that every Zelda that comes out, except I think the one anomaly was Skyward Sword, and I just kind of discount that one.
Yeah.
But other than that, every single Zelda game has been quality. Almost pretty much every single Mario game has been quality. pretty much every single Pokemon game. Obviously, there's outliers here or there.
Yeah.
But I think I just trust consistently. And I think it's funny because there are a lot of people who are like, well, Nintendo just puts out the same thing with the different skin. I'm like, but it's good.
Yeah.
And like, so, so for people were saying like Nintendo, I was reading this about Odyssey. Someone was commenting and being snarky about, just another 3D Mario platformer. Can't wait till Nintendo does something that isn't one of their major franchises. And it's like, but they're all good, and now two of them are Game of the Year contenders in the same launch year of their console. That's only been out for like 5 months.
Such a dumb argument because Mario Odyssey is such a change on the formula, like especially Breath of the Wild too. Like, people could easily be like, "Oh, this is just a Zelda game." It's like it is the farthest from the original Zelda in terms of style and in terms of like I think that was the brilliance of it, is that it was hinting at old school but also new in its own right. So. Yeah, we can go on and on, but I would probably stick.
I would say Switch. And
so you're Switch and GameCube?
Switch and GameCube.
And
Switch and Game Boy.
Switch and Game Boy. Dang, you guys are both keeping the Switch.
Both Nintendo. How about you, son?
PS4 or Xbox even.
You got 6 minutes.
Yeah, so assuming this is my hypothetical question, I guess, but in the world there's no computers. You can't have a gaming computer. That doesn't count. So assuming I don't have a gaming computer and no other way of playing games, I feel like I have to keep my Xbox because the Xbox One, because it can still play like new games.
Oh yeah, sure.
But I can't imagine a world where I can't play Fallout 3. Fallout 3, New Vegas, Oblivion. I can't imagine a world where I can't play any of those games.
That's what I was saying with Fire Emblem. Like I could not. Like that is my
So it's like I don't want to keep the Xbox, but if the PS4 had backwards compatibility, then it's like. But I feel like I can't imagine a world where I can't play those games.
Yeah.
So I think I'd have to, unfortunately, keep my Xbox. I'll come over and play the Switch at your guys' house.
No, you're not mooching off my consoles. Get out of here with that.
In this world, we're all isolated from one another.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're in a Switch world, or you're in
with.
Hello?
So, hello?
And old school console.
Anybody?
I want to. Does the regular DS count as old school?
Yeah, I'd count that.
So I'd want the fat DS.
Dude,
so I can play DS and Game Boy.
The chunky one.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice.
Oh,
it's hard between the SP because I could play GBA Pokemons and Color Pokemons, or the DS. I could play GBA Pokemons and DS Pokemons, but I can't get both.
Yeah. Oof.
I think I'd go the SP. I need to be able to play Pokemon Blue.
But you made a good point though. With DS, you could get Heart Gold and Soul Silver on there, which are like.
So the only ones I can't play are I could play Fire Red and Leaf Green, DS.
Wow.
I think
I'm going fat DS. Original.
Fat chunky DS.
Me too. You changed fat chunky DS.
I need Fallout 3.
Do you still
and
have
New Vegas, and I need Pokemon. Correct. I think I could subsist on those. I'd just alternate between get burnt out on Fallout, play Pokemon.
You know what? That would be a fun podcast to do. Is to be like, if we have a hypothetical, be like,
what are we looking at?
Just checking time. We got 4 minutes.
Okay.
All right, we'll finish up. That'd be an interesting one to do. Is talk about our prime titles, and it's our main series that we enjoy and we can't live without.
Book it.
And that's
that was one of one of my questions that I think would have gone on a huge tangent, but it was, what games would you absolutely 100% buy without question?
Okay.
So that could be like a podcast where we talk about our games.
I think we give some quick answers. I mean, we kind of did already, but
we kind of did. I think we should save it because we're pretty limited.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good episode though.
Cool.
Just geeking out about our favorite games, because we all have different tastes.
Mm-hmm. Very different tastes. Well, some same, some different, but
I think we all like the same things, but we all have things that we would immediately jump on without question.
Mm-hmm.
That are probably very different.
Mass Effect, Fallout, Fire Emblem.
Yeah, more or less.
So
dope.
Yeah, there we go. Well.
Oh
no.
Yeah. Before I bust these nasty rhymes, I gotta tell y'all about some cool things going on in the world.
Yeah, tell them.
Our podcast is on iTunes, Lisbon.com, TuneIn Radio,
Lisbon,
and some other places that we'll tell you about. YouTube, that's one of them.
Sound like Logic.
We got 2 minutes left. We about to break this thing down real funky for you.
Real funkish.
Give me that beat louder, DJ.
Yeah. Go. Now. Do it. Come on. You just kept bobbing your head.
I was trying not to laugh. All right, here we go. Yeah. I got young boy Zach riding on my left. I got that boy Phil riding on my right.
Yeah.
I got Spider-Man balloons and lamps that light. I got Sharpies that write and things that are tight, like my game collection. Amiibos, boom! I got those things like I'm Logan Paul. You can check out my mixtape on
Ow. Stop. Stop.
I'm fat.
You can check out my mixtape. That's it.
That's all, folks.
Go away.
Bye-bye.
That's all, folks.
Bye-bye.
Boom, 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 boom. I
have
want
take
you to
the
rap.
largest
What?
whiz in the world.
No, we're done.
We have 1 minute left until this is done. So
No, we finished out perfectly.
Ready?
No,
Ready?
I don't
Ready?
want
Ready?
Okay.
Ready? Set. Go.
Go. Yeah. Okay. Gotta catch them all. Pokemon the game I play. All day, every day, bro. Nintendo is the fanboy that I'm in the fan base. Say that to my face, boy. I don't play no Fallout or first person shooter.
You and I need to have a rap battle on one of these episodes.
Oh
'cause
my
you would
gosh.
shred me so
No, I
bad.
wouldn't. That was bad.
That was pretty good.
It's like yours is actually like at least laughably good, and it's bad.
Okay,
Mine
okay.
was literally
I take-
like, I got Spider-Man balloons and
Yeah.
markers that right,
And lights that light.
and Sharpies that right.
I got balloons that balloon, lights that light, markers that right,
And
notebooks
pants that are
right.
tight.
Pants that are
I think I
tight.
said I got some things that are tight,
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we're ending.
That was a good episode.
That was
But I'm
fun.
not a
Next
rapper.
time,
but I'm not a rapper.
the intro should be way shorter.
Yes.
Nah.
Actually, I think our discussion was good.
Yeah.
We hit all the points that I had in the thing, but not in the order that I had them in.
10, 8, 5,
2,
1.
1,
Sayonara!
3.
Arashimasu.